it would seem as though John's still in MMA. It would seem as though that foot that he had in and that foot that he had out, and he said himself last week when he re-entered the testing pool that he wanted to keep options open for everybody.
I feel like John Jones, like I said, I believe that he's the GOAT of mixed martial arts.
You can't argue, can you?
Yeah, you can't argue, and he's been through generations of fighters, for many generations.
Look, I'm as big a John Jones fan as anybody, and I've always defended he's not afraid of Tom. He's willing to fight anybody. It's hard to not fall into that narrative here, though. You know, like, to me, like, fighting in the White House, like, that doesn't do it.
John Jones stirs up the MMA world again as Leon Edwards delivers a jaw-dropping take on a possible Tom Aspinall clash, and rumors swirl about a historic White House card. The comeback talk just hit a whole new level. Meanwhile, Leon doesn't believe John Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall. In fact, he praises John as a great fighter. If John comes back for Tom, Leon thinks we're in for an incredible matchup. Still, he's unsure if John will come out of retirement, but he's confident John didn't run away.
So there's no ducking from John Jones?
No.
No ducking?
No.
We're not saying that?
I'm not saying that.
We're not having it?
Nah, definitely
Too
not.
much respect for John Jones, the GOAT of UFC. Is it fair to say he's the GOAT
Yeah,
of UFC?
100%.
He is the GOAT. There's a guy called Darren Till from Liverpool. Do you know him? You're familiar with him?
I know him.
So he's now crossed over. He's doing a bit of boxing, a bit of misfits. And he don't look too bad. He looks quite tidy. He stand up and throw a couple of...
You gonna have a go with him?
For a nice, well, he's mentioned my name a couple of times. Good, decent UFC fighter, or was he?
No, it was good. It was good. He fought for the world title. He's a very good striker.
Yeah.
And I've seen his last fight in boxing, and it'd be a good one, man.
What do you reckon to him in the boxing? Do you like what you see?
So far.
He looks quite tidy.
Yeah, exactly.
He throws a nice 1-2.
Yeah, 100%. So far.
And he's got a good distance and that.
Exactly. So far, 100%. I feel like that'd be a great fight for you, to be fair.
Do I need to be coming out of retirement though to fight him?
Amid these comments, John recently lit up the internet by tweeting that he re-entered the testing pool only to leave it after 2 weeks. He said it's just to keep everyone's options open, enough to get fans buzzing again. In his tweet, the fighter wrote, "Just re-entered the testing pool that lasted for about 2 weeks. Figured we'd keep everyone's options open." But not everyone shares Leon's optimism. Chael Sonnen jumped in, saying that if John really wants options, he should stay in shape. Chael Sonnen doubts the sincerity of John's tweet and questions if fans can still trust him after months of delays and a sudden retirement. He also claims a John versus Tom fight wouldn't excite anyone now.
Last week when he re-entered the testing pool that he wanted to keep options open for everybody. Well, one way to preserve those options is to make sure that you're still good at the sport that you may or may not be agreeing to do. So we're being told this story. I want to know. I don't ask this rhetorically. I'm not attempting to answer a question. I'm asking a question. But would you believe him? Would you be excited? Can John manipulate, convince you, the fan, through the media enough? If he decides I'm going to come back and I'm going to fight Tom Aspinall, after all these months dating back to November of last year where he's consistently said I'm not going to fight him.
Just like Chael, Wade Plemons also questions John's move. He finds it odd that John retired just 2 weeks ago and is now already talking about a return. Wade jokes that maybe John was just bored on the 4th of July and decided to stir things up with a tweet.
July 4th, 2026. But it's another thing if you're John Jones to enter the testing pool 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks after you've retired and given up your heavyweight championship belt to potentially fight at this event or maybe before that. And I'm not saying that either guy is going to fight in this event or at all. This could just be, hey, I'm bored on social media on the 4th of July. In John's case, probably because no one wants to hang out with him because when they get too drunk, he acts like a complete psycho and endangers people. And for Conor's case, they also, well, yeah, that's probably for both guys, to be honest. But if John really is re-entering the testing pool, this opens up the idea of potential super fights for John Jones. Because the one thing that I think everyone had asked about John Jones and from John Jones when he was stalling the heavyweight division and holding on to the belt.
Michael Bisping agrees with Wade. He noticed that right after John's tweet, the UFC posted on their official page, calling John the GOAT. Bisping thinks that might be a signal. Maybe John is really thinking about fighting again, maybe even against Tom.
He has been retired for 2 weeks, maybe less than that. That gets a bit blurry depending on what the timeline is, but according to Twitter, apparently, according to Twitter, his Twitter, not general hearsay, John Jones has unretired. That is correct. He says that he is now back in the testing pool. Check this out. So, of course, the UFC shares this, and this is very nice of the UFC. John Bones Jones, the greatest of all time. And he just might be. We'll get to that after. There's others. Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Habib Nurmagomedov. The list goes on. Ilia Topuria, right? So he shares that. Okay, great. Of course, why not? I'd share that as well. I'd retweet it. And then this, fighting at the White House. That piqued his curiosity.
As speculation swirls around John's return, Donald Trump adds more fuel by announcing plans for a UFC fight at the White House. The timing is no coincidence. With John's tweets surfacing almost simultaneously, fans and fighters, everybody is waiting for his final move.
We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big deal.
Meanwhile, Bisping doesn't stop there. He points out that Donald Trump recently announced plans for a White House fight card next year, and suddenly John tweeted too. It could be connected. Still, Bisping remains skeptical as he asks what's really changed in just 2 weeks since John announced his retirement.
And then the very next tweet, there it is. Just re-entered the testing pool, and at the time of me doing this, 4th of July, just about to start the barbecue, about to have a few beers, 37 minutes ago. Just re-entered the testing pool. That lasted for about 2 weeks. Figured we'd keep everyone's options open. Now, we'll have a look at the comments on that in just a second. I don't know what to think of this. I don't know if John's having a laugh, if he's being silly, if he's just taking the piss, or if he's actually serious. I mean, what has changed in 2 weeks' time?
In a surprising twist, Matt Brown, a longtime fan of John Jones, isn't impressed by the idea of a White House fight. He says a fight is just a fight, regardless of where it happens. To him, John's recent moves feel more like avoiding Tom than chasing greatness. The excitement just isn't there anymore.
But maybe I'm a different person, you know, maybe everybody looks at it different. For me, like, if you tell me they're gonna have a fight at the White House, like, cool, all right, like, it'd be cool to do it. If not, whatever, like, a fight's a fight. Maybe John looks at it different. Maybe that, you know, got him motivated, sparked his interest enough. But man, I'll tell you, like, this looks bad in my opinion. Like, and I got the most respect for John. Like, I talk about it all the time, right? Like, the dude was kicking people's ass while on cocaine. You know, like I've done enough cocaine to know I cannot do that. Like, respect, John. Like, you are a bad. But this looks like ducking.
Sharing another perspective, Daniel Cormier doesn't call it retirement. He says John quit. If John really believed in himself, DC argues, he would have already faced Tom Aspinall. Now with John tweeting again, Cormier questions his motives. Is he playing games, or is there real intent behind this comeback tease? Either way, DC isn't buying it.
John quit.
John quit, is that right?
DC? Call it what it is. Wow. John quit.
How do you say that? The word choice? Why is that the word choice?
Bro, I said this on my YouTube channel the other day.
John retired.
When John Jones and I were fighting, he says, I will see in the octagon a 38-year-old man while I'm just entering into my prime. Those words are now the exact same words that can be spoken to him on the other side. When the words were related to him, he said, I'm out. I'm not doing it. That's why I said he quit.
He also knows his body, so is it a smart move?
He could have said that a long time ago, because you know why he didn't?
Those decisions are hard.
But you want to know why he didn't? He's trying to convince himself that he still could put in the work necessary to go beat this dude. John Jones and Stipe fought when there was an interim champion. He fights a dude that hasn't fought for 3 years. If he'd have walked away, we said, what an ending for your last fight. But instead he waited, and that's where the mistake was. If I was John Jones, as scary as this was to fight Tom Aspinall, I would have fought him already.
While some were furious about John dragging the fight with Tom since November, John Jones's tweet is sparking mixed reactions about whether he should return at all. Aljamain Sterling believes John has already done enough and doesn't need to prove anything by taking on fresh names like Tom Aspinall. Still, everyone's curious, what will John do next?
I kind of felt the writing was on the wall. I know a lot of the fans got invested in that and saying he's ducking, but he doesn't need the fight. I'm just happy that he left the way that he wanted to leave. And at the end of the day, he left on top. Not a lot of guys get to do that. And he's left us with a lot of great fights and stuff to aspire to do. And I would say he's an innovator, right? So he's kind of changed the game a lot. Like a lot of the techniques he's brought to the game, you start to see a lot of these people implement it into their styles, and he's really shaped the sport. So it's gonna be sad that he's gone, of course, but he'll definitely be missed, at least for me.
Just recently, when John announced his retirement, Tom Aspinall reacted to it by wishing him the best, but he didn't hold back either. He pointed out how John spent nearly a year delaying decisions before stepping away. Tom was honest that he can't predict John's next move, simply because he doesn't know the man personally.
I have said that I'm not going to speak about it anymore. My feelings towards him, I just wish him all the best. Genuinely wish him all the best. If he feels satisfied with what he's done, which he's saying he is, and he's happy to leave like that, then I genuinely wish him all the best.
Do you think that is it?
I don't know him. Don't know him at all. Met him once. Don't know anything about him, so I don't know.
So you told you it was short?
It was short and sweet, thank you.
No, but you can understand that that has been quite a huge part of the narrative over the last
of course.
12 months, and a lot of fight fans will have their attitudes as to why that decision has been made and what have you. I kind of agree with you. At the end of the day, with the legacy that he's had and what he's done in the sport, he has the right to make a decision for himself.
While John's comeback remains uncertain, Tom's path looks clear. He's gearing up for a packed year with 4 fights on his schedule. Whether or not a clash with John is in the cards, it's not something Tom seems focused on. In fact, fans may not even want that matchup, considering how John's attitude has shaped public interest.
So what does the next 12 months look like?
I'll be busy.
When you say busy though, you must have in your head what you can do.
Yeah.
Are you talking 3? Are you talking 4? In the next 12 months?
I'd like to do 4.
In the next 12 months?
I'd like to do 4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, because, see, the heavyweights are a little bit different. First of all, there's not as many of us, especially if you look at the top 10 now. I've beaten 6 of them now. My goal is to beat 10 in the top 10. I want to beat all 10. But it's a little bit different with the heavyweights because, first of all, there's not as many of us. Second of all, injuries happen a lot more with bigger guys. We're not as active as we are the smaller weights. But my goal is at least 3, maybe 4, between now and like the end of 26.
Instead, Tom is keeping things moving in the heavyweight division. Over the next year, he plans to take on the top 10 contenders, and that includes names like Derek Lewis, who's hungry for a shot. Lewis has his eyes set on Aspinall and wants to prove he can take him down.
For now, Tom Aspinall's the full champion, and he says he's going to beat everyone in the top 10 in the next 12 months. And you're one of the guys he hasn't fought, so where do you think you stand right now?
I'll stand up right there with him. That'd be good to fight him. Before everything is said and done with, I have a couple of fights on my contract. I would love to finish out my contract. That'd be great if I can. But yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. Feels realistic you can fight for that belt again. I mean, he says he wants to fight all the guys he hasn't, and I think you're one of 3 ranked guys who hasn't fought Tom Aspinall yet. So a big win here. Who knows?
That'd be good. Let him know, hey, you fight Derek for that belt.
Tom Aspinall isn't slowing down. He's already beaten 6 of the UFC's top contenders and is now aiming to clear the entire top 10. With Francis Ngannou still on that list, the door remains open for a massive matchup, one that could rival any hype around a potential fight with Jon Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how realistic that is because, see, the heavyweights are a little bit different. First of all, there's not as many of us, especially if you look at the top 10 now. I've beaten 6 of them now. My goal is to beat 10 in the top 10. I want to beat all 10.
Ariel Helwani recently pointed to a short list of elite names: Cyril Gane, Jailton Almeida, and of course Francis Ngannou. Each fighter brings their own challenge, and any of them could turn into a headline-worthy battle. One thing's clear: Tom is not stopping or holding back, no matter what decisions John and his team make.
Tom has to win like at least the next 2 or 3.
He needs to show something. If his next fight is against Cyril Gane, and say he goes out and loses,
is that the fight?
It has to be, right? I guess.
But if it's not Francis Ngannou,
yeah. I mean, I thought Volkov won that fight, but like, who else is there in the heavyweight? Jailton Almeida. I know he's throwing his hat in the ring.
Yeah, I saw Jailton with the tweet. Shout out to Jailton. I would love to see Jailton get a shot, but I feel like he needs 1 or 2 more to get back in there.
But they need. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the Curtis Blades loss hurts him, especially with Blades having the most recent loss to Aspinall. I feel like it's.
I just think they need to really, like, when Tom fights, they need to spotlight a few heavyweights that night. You know, whatever they're doing in the title situation. If it's not Ngannou, and we can talk about that later, but if it's Gan.
Tom had trained and waited, aiming for a clash with the legend, but with John stepping away, Tom was left without a target. The past year saw him on standby, not in action, but he never stopped preparing, staying sharp for whatever the division throws at him next.
I think that he's entitled to do whatever he wants, to be honest. I'm not... He's done way more in the sport than I have, so he should do whatever he feels is right. Speaking as just a fighter here, if it was so public, for me personally, I don't know if my ego could take it, having not done it. But that's honestly, that's his prerogative. I don't hold any ill will against him for it, and I'm happy to move on with my career now that it's over, because you got to remember, I've not fought for nearly a year now because of this, and I've been healthy the whole time. I've been in the gym the whole time. I've been doing exactly what I'm supposed to do as a high-level operating athlete at the elite level. So I'm glad that that is behind us now.
While some think Jon Jones has been ducking Tom and he is scared to fight him, Brendan Schaub praises Jon Jones as the greatest of all time and shares a wild detail. Jon didn't even warm up before their fight. According to Schaub, Jon's training hasn't stopped, and that leaves the door open for a possible return. It's not over until Jon says it is.
Yeah, I think Jon's the greatest of all time.
Wow. You ever trained with him?
Yes.
Did he kick your ass?
Yes.
You're very honest.
Not only did what my... Hold up, dude. I'm talking. I'm in my prime, pinnacle shape, running in sub 6 minute mile every day, eating right. I'm at Jackson's training. It's me, other huge name fighters, all ranked in the top 10. And Jon, and I got 10 hours of sleep, drinking my green juice. I've warmed up perfectly. I'm feeling the best I've ever felt. I'm like, I'm about to beat the out of Jon Jones today. This dude comes in 20 minutes late. Probably was doing some shenanigans that night. I don't know. He didn't even warm up. He did this. I'm good.
The heavyweight division is heating up, and Jon Jones is still the center of it all, even without stepping in the cage. From Aspinall's rise to the White House card buzz, there's plenty to talk about. What do you think? Will Jon return, or is he just playing the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments.